What's up, everybody? So I just got done watching Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and dude, I can't remember the last time a movie's teared me up that many times in one movie. Like towards the end, I was like, "Dang it, my tear ducts are sore. Leave me alone. Stop trying to make me cry." Um, but dude, just from the jump, it was like hitting me like right in the feels with like, yep, I know that feeling. It's like I'm trying. The movie started with the song "Creep," um, with Rocket listening to the song "Creep," and I was like, yeah, I know how you feel, buddy. Like take take Peter and take Rocket, and that's how I feel all the time. Like the the trauma of Rocket and Peter knowing for sure that this girl used to like him, but he's like in a world of doubt and gaslighting. I don't know, like he doubts his own memory. At some point, the memories fade, and you're like, am I even correct? Am I even correct? I don't even know anymore. Like, because I would, anyways. But this song was the perfect intro for that whole thing. Was like, but I'm a creep, but I'm a weirdo. What the hell am I doing here? I don't belong here. Woo! And then, of course, the girl run away. Anyways, um, but yeah, jumping into it. We're doing the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 review. And dude, the movie was just so good, dude. I wasn't expecting it to be this good. Like I really wasn't. I wasn't expecting it to be this good when it was just all the way through. It was just freaking touching. Like obviously you have to have watched the first two movies, and you have to at least have read a synopsis on what happened in Infinity War and Endgame. And I mean, you don't have to have watched the Christmas special. Maybe you do. Like if you want, obviously, if you want to know everything, you're gonna have to watch all of that and the Christmas special. But because it was the Christmas special that revealed that um she is his sister. Uh, what's her name? The antenna girl. I don't remember her name. The antenna girl is Peter's sister, and this movie was awesome, dude. It's just awesome all the way through. I don't want to spoil everything. Um, it mainly focuses on Rocket's past trauma, but a lot of it is also focused on Peter not being over losing Gamora, and this new Gamora who is a young, well, she's Gamora, but she's from the past timeline, so she never met Quill, and she never uh, fell in love with Quill. So he's got to rekindle it all over again from the beginning, and he sort of does. Um, sort of does, you know. But at the same time, it's like, and this analogy really struck home with me. But but I don't think this analogy really applies to me. I think it applies. I think it applies to some other people, but for me, I don't think it really applies because I have always been swimming, right? The analogy is hopping from girl to girl to girl to girl to girl to girl. The each girl is like a lily pad, and if you never learn to swim in between the lily pads, then you're not whole, right? Well, the thing is, I've always learned to swim. I know very well how to swim, right? So for me, even though I understood the analogy, and for me, the analogy is different, right? For someone that's been a serial monogamist, a serial monogamist needs to take that analogy and be like, oh, I've never taken a moment to learn how to swim, right? For me, I can still apply the analogy and just say, oh, I need to learn how to be content swimming. I know very well how to swim. I've always been swimming. Always been swimming. But I need to learn how to be. I just need to accept and be content swimming. So I understood that was a good analogy. I was rooting for Peter to get back with Gamora. I was hoping that he would get, it'll work out, and maybe it will. But I think the way that, I don't want to spoil anything, but I think the way things turned out was also pretty good and super touching. Everything in this movie was super freaking touching. It was a freaking tearjerker, dang near all the way through. Let's see, what else can I cover that without spoiling a whole bunch? Okay, so the main villain was the High Evolutionary, which is, and they went to counter Earth, which was really interesting because in the 1990s Spider-Man the animated series, that was a really popular cartoon series, and then when that show ended, the sequel to that series was Spider-Man Unlimited, which took the same Peter Parker and Spider-Man and Venom and Carnage, and had Spider-Man chase Venom and Carnage off-world on a space shuttle, and they ended up on counter Earth with the High Evolutionary and all the animal people, and that's where that show took place in Spider-Man Unlimited. So I was already very familiar with all the animal people and the High Evolutionary. That was mainly tied into Rocket's backstory, but I thought it was a good villain. That was a really good villain, especially considered, like, it was, I don't know, the movie was just good, dude. And that's few and far between with Marvel, and it was probably easier to make it good because they already have the success of the first 1, 2, and the parts they played a pretty significant part. All these characters played a pretty significant part in Infinity War, whereas in Endgame, the only one who was in Endgame was Rocket, and yeah, Rocket was the only one who was in. Rocket and Nebula were in Endgame, because what happened is, spoilers if you still haven't seen Infinity War and Endgame, which is crazy that you haven't, but in Infinity War, the whole team, the whole Guardians of the Galaxy meets Thor, and then they go and they try and help defeat Thanos, and in the process Thanos kills Gamora, and then Peter's really mad, and then, well, he doesn't know she's dead, but in the process of trying to get her back, they end up meeting up with Iron Man, Spider-Man, and Doctor Strange, and they have a final showdown with Thanos, and then they almost defeat him, but in the moment Thanos reveals that he killed Gamora, and then Peter loses his temper, and then Thanos manages to overpower them all, and wins. And then Thanos gets all the Infinity Stones, snaps everyone out, snaps half the universe out of existence. So a lot of the characters, the entire Guardians of the Galaxy, with the exception of Nebula and Rocket, turn to dust, and a lot of the other superheroes turn to dust. So then in Endgame, the only Guardians of the Galaxy characters that even still exist are Nebula and Rocket. And so then they go on to help them undo the timeline and get everyone back. When they successfully get everyone back, they only get the people back that Thanos snapped out of existence using the Infinity Stones. But he didn't snap Gamora out of existence using the Infinity Stones. He killed her to fulfill the ritual to get the Soul Stone. So she wasn't brought back. But they do have the past timeline Gamora that they met in the journey to undo all this, but she doesn't have any of the memories of their Gamora. She's basically the Gamora at the beginning of the first movie before she met any of them. Right, so she's got her memory of her sister and her memory of her trauma with Thanos, but that's it. But yeah, so oh man, dude, the freaking raccoons were so cute, dude. The baby raccoons and the whole oh man, I don't want to spoil anything. I want it to be all a fresh surprise for anyone watching this. So I'm trying to keep this a spoiler-free review. There was one character that I was really worried. I heard, I don't remember from where, but I heard that there was to expect that there was going to be a character killed off, right? And I'm not going to say whether a character was killed off or not, but I was really worried that it was going to be one specific character for specific real life political reasons that they would want to get rid of him. And then there was one scene in the moment, there was one scene where it was really, really touch and go, like, oh no, are they killing him right now? Oh no, oh no. But then he didn't. He lived. He lived. I'm not saying who it is, but he lived. You probably already know who it is because I said political, but he lived. And then at the end of the movie, it was really touching. And then they did that thing where they always do at the end of certain franchises. They always do this at the end of every Bond movie. At the end of every James Bond movie since the 1960s, after the credits finish, big bold text across the screen says James Bond will return. And then they did it for the early MCU films. They did Iron Man will return, Thor will return, Spider-Man will return, Superman will return, Batman will return. They always do that. It's like a classic thing that movie franchises have done for decades. But his name, which I'm sure you already put two and two together who it is, will return. They didn't say Guardians of the Galaxy will return. They said will return. So that was like, yeah, that's cool. Anyways, I'm gonna wrap it up. I give this movie well, one of the other reviewers that I watched gave it a 9 out of 10. But I almost never rank movies that high because when you get to like the 9 range, there's like no room for improvement. No movie is a 10. There's no such thing. There's no such thing as a 10 out of 10 person, 10 out of 10 movie, 10 out of 10 video game, because 10 out of 10 implies there's no room for improvement, and there's no such thing. There's no such thing as no room for improvement. But I would give this movie an 8.5. An 8.5 out of 10. Maybe I'll give it a 9. I don't know. I want to give it a 9, but at the same time I feel like that's just very rare, there's like, I don't know. But it's really good. It's really good. We'll just say that. We'll leave it at that. I'm gonna wrap it up. I appreciate you guys for watching this review. Made it this far. 96% of you are new viewers, are not yet subscribed. Please subscribe. It helps out the channel, and like and all that stuff. It really helps me out. I appreciate it. And I'm on BitChute. I'm on Minds. I'm on Twitter, Odyssey. Still need to make a Rumble. I just haven't got around to it yet. Twitch is right there. It's my Twitch. There's going to be another video popping up right there if you still haven't had enough of me rambling. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.